Guys, they say everything is bigger in Texas, and right now Texas is going big. Okay? Texas has showed up to the battlefield to try to save this election for President Trump. Before we get in that, my name is Greg Foreman, and you're watching a Black Conservative Perspective. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black Conservative Perspective, aka a leftist worst nightmare. You can also follow me on Twitter at gforemanbcp. Let's get it. Also, keep in mind, guys, I will be shipping Ashi this week. It is coming. I've had some emails, so I gotta give you guys an update. I will be shipping it soon. All right, guys. Texas has showed up. They have come out against these battleground states at the Supreme Court, which has kind of always been the plan, and have essentially said that you guys are acting in an unconstitutional way due to the changes that you've made to voting in response to this pandemic. So a little bit before midnight, Texas sued Georgia, Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin, arguing that they have violated the electors clause of the Constitution by changing voting procedures through state courts or executive decisions rather than state legislators. Finally, some state has the cojones to stand up for what's right and to challenge this thing, right? So the Texas lawsuit filed by Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton says certain officials in the defendant states presented the pandemic as the justification for ignoring state laws regarding absentee and mail-in voting. The defendant states flooded their citizenry with tens of millions of ballot applications, and the ballots in derogation of statutory controls as to how they are lawfully received, evaluated, and counted. Whether well-intentioned or not, these unconstitutional acts had the same uniform effect. They made the 2020 election less secure in the defendant states. Those changes are inconsistent with relevant state laws and were made by non-legislative entities without any consent by the state legislators. The acts of those officials thus directly violated the Constitution. This case presents a question of law. Did the defendant states violate the electors clause by taking non-legislative action to change the election rules that would govern the appointment of presidential electors? These non-legislative changes to the defendant states' election laws facilitated the casting and counting of ballots in violation of state law, which in turn violated the electors clause of Article 2, Section 1, Clause 2 of the U.S. Constitution. By these unlawful acts, the defendant states have not only tainted the integrity of their own citizens' vote, but their actions have also debased the votes of citizens in plaintiff state and other states that remain loyal to the Constitution. Guys, Article 2, Section 1, Clause 2, and the Constitution says, word for word, each state shall appoint in such manner, capitalized, as the legislator thereof may direct. As the legislator thereof may direct. I'm not a lawyer, but that to me sounds like the legislator needs to be the one making these decisions. A number of electors equal to the whole number of senators and representatives to which the state may be entitled in the Congress, but no senator or representative or person holding an office of trust or profit under the United States shall be appointed an elector. Don't you guys just love this beautiful American document? It is the most powerful weapon that we have against these radical leftists. This is an interesting argument, in my opinion, and I particularly did not think about this, is that if you were in a state that did not basically subvert the Constitution and change the mail-in voting procedures, you basically were disenfranchised, because these other states that are allowed to do this use something that may have been unconstitutional at a federal level to elect a federal employee, which basically makes it so your vote is kind of diluted. So that's a very fascinating and thought-provoking argument that I just want to bring to you guys' attention. You know, if you happen to not live in one of these states. Texas is seeking to have the Supreme Court order these states to send the selection of electors back to their representative state legislators. So it seems to me that Texas either doesn't want the electors from this state to count at all, or alternatively, obviously they want them to go to Trump. Now, if the electors are not counted at all, then that will make it so Biden does not reach 270, which that ultimately would send the election to the House of Representatives, whom right now the projected 2021 House delegation is 21 to 24 Democrats and 26 Republicans. Again, assuming that all 26 Republican delegations go for Trump, then Trump would be re-elected under that scenario. And that seems to be kind of what Texas is going for. Now, another Texas politician, Ted Cruz, has stepped up to the plate and basically agreed to argue the Pennsylvania election case if the Supreme Court takes it up. Now, Senator Ted Cruz, who again is a Republican from Texas, told Hannity that he agreed to present oral arguments before the Supreme Court in a key election-related case should the High Court take up the matter, because the matter, quote, raises very serious issues. The case brought by Representative Mike Kelly, a Republican from Pennsylvania, and the Pennsylvania GOP congressional candidate, Sean Parnell, alleges that a 2019 state law allowing no excuse mail-in voting is unconstitutional. Now, if Kelly and Parnell happen to win the lawsuit, then most of Pennsylvania's mail-in votes in this past election could get thrown out, which again, because most of the mail-in votes are from Biden, would result in the state being overturned to President Trump. Kelly and Parnell were initially granted a stay by the Pennsylvania Commonwealth Court Judge Patricia McCullough, but Democratic Governor Tom Wolf's administration summarily filed an appeal with the state Supreme Court, a 5-2 Democratic majority. The higher court sided with Wolf, and Kelly's team moved to get the Supreme Court to rule. Now, they're making a similar argument to Texas, in which they're saying that the state does not have grounds to allow non-absentee vote by mail without a constitutional amendment. Now, the only difference is that Pennsylvania state legislature did pass Act 77 on a bipartisan basis. However, what they're saying is that they actually need to change the Constitution. There needs to be an actual constitutional amendment. So as of right now, with that case, we're pending it being heard by the Supreme Court to see if it's going to actually be taken up. Now, my opinion on this is very simple, right? I've always said, I'm going to let it see how it play out. And I'm going to be very patient, and I'm going to wait to the end. And, you know, we're getting closer to the end, and we're getting some fireworks. We're getting some fireworks here and there. And at the end of the day, regardless of what happens, I'm just really glad to see that we have some real Republicans stepping up and standing behind the president and trying to protect the integrity of this election. And by them doing this, they're also exposing the rhinos who have no backbone and no spine to stand up and to at least say, you know what, we need to be more transparent about our election process. I've been kind of critical of Ted Cruz in the past. I feel like he's done a lot of talking when it comes to the tech stuff and not enough action. But it seems to me that Ted Cruz is about that action when it comes to protecting our elections integrity. And that ultimately, in my opinion, is probably a more important issue right now than the tech stuff. So I can forgive Ted Cruz for his lack of action on tech, because I'm just happy to see that he's standing up for what's right, and he's putting his money where his mouth is, or at least, you know, offering to do so. So we'll see, guys. This could potentially be big. This could potentially turn everything around, and we could finally kind of get some big legal wins here, because as of right now, we've lacked legal wins. Now, you know, we have the video evidence. We've seen that. You know, we have the affidavits. We have a lot of kind of outside wins. but we lack legal wins. And right now we need some legal wins. So hopefully these lawsuits will, go somewhere, at least